Team, what is up? What is up? What is up? Again, this is Danny. Welcome back to the channel. If you love what you're seeing and you know you're going to be the best cold prospect that there is once this 30 days challenge is actually complete, go ahead and share it out with the world. Tell everybody you know, at least 2 to 3 individuals per sales team, that this training exists. I'm not taking any money for it. I'm not taking anything for it. I just want to go out there, spread value, spread joy, spread cheers, spread a lot of cold calling wellness. Because at the end of the day, the better the cold call, the better we all up our game, and the better that people do business. Right? Reputation is all built on the frequency of consistency. And if more people are good at this, we're all just going to get better at it. And if more people suck at this, we're going to be wasting our time fixing all their problems. And we're all going to have burnt customers that just don't want to do business with anybody because somebody has screwed them over in the past, right? So on today's 30-day challenge piece, I want to talk about one of the most important things. This is all high level. Then as the 30 days goes on, we'll kind of get more into it. But as far as cold calling, whether you're doing your product offer service, outreach for, real estate agents, lead gen, if you're doing it for SMMA, whatever you're doing it for, right, you have to remember the one word that really does reign supreme, and that is frequency, right? Frequency is one of those secret weapon words. And the reason is just because it's the ability to go out and do things over and over and over and over again, right? Repetition is the answer to all things when it comes to sales, right? Because at frequency equals scale, right? The more you do something, the better you get at doing it. The more efficient you get at doing it, the better way you find to do it. And the more likely you are to break through whatever barrier is actually up there for you in the first place, right? Frequency is also an important thing because here's the thing. At the end of the day, when you're doing cold calling, the chances of you getting a one call close are very slim to none. The chances of you getting 2 or 3 back-to-backs, one call closes are even further slim to none, right? So a lot of the times you're going to require the frequency to actually go out there and make connections on a multiple scale basis, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like your follow-up has to be so rigid and to the point that you need to keep this going, right? If you sit down right now and say, I'm going to make 100 calls, right? You have to literally hone yourself, discipline, and have the skill set, the persistence, and the frequency to make that 100 calls. Like I was looking online the other day, I was just like randomly scouting like SDR things, and I wanted to kind of get a feedback of where the market was at. Like one of the things that I saw was like the thing that blew my mind, right? Setting foundation, right? And this is a foundational thing, and I've talked about it in another video, I think at least once by now, but one of the requirements, and I think the very first requirement was 250 cold calls per day, right? Like I did the math on it, and it's like it's not a realistic number. Like at the end of the day, like you can't make 250 cold calls a day, and actually, the second you make one actual dial connection, that number is screwed because like talk time, like the way it impacts that, the match just doesn't work, right? But here's the thing about frequency at the end of the day, right? Frequency is about building a pipeline. Pipeline's about making connections over and over and over again, right? So if I call somebody today, it doesn't mean I'm not going to call them tomorrow. If I call somebody tomorrow, it doesn't mean I'm not going to call them the day after, right? But the frequency and making the dials repetitive and actually going forward and trying to reach these individuals and trying to get the attention that I need to actually pull them inside of a secondary conversation to move forward inside of my business are the things that I'm using all those principles for in the first place, right? I need to make sure that I'm okay to call them once. I need to make sure that I'm okay to call them twice. I need to make sure that I'm okay to call them in a month. I need to make sure that I'm okay to call them in 4 months. Now, say I do sign somebody on in my business. Does that mean that they're automatically done? Like I'm done with them for the rest of my life? No, it doesn't, because there's a bunch of different things that they can go for. One, you can actually follow up with their experience. Like I have all my team consistently reaching out to people for client experience. Like, hey, it's been a couple months since we worked with one another. I just want to see how everything's going. I want to see how everything's progressing. I want to see how you like anything. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns? I'd love to be here for you. I know you probably lost my number. There's 8,000 people that you're talking to on a daily basis. And like I introduced humor back into it because it's still about being likable at that point. But I just wanted to kind of restate, like, this is who I was. I was here for you just in case you need anything. I want you to reach out directly back to me. And if I don't have the answer, I'll be able to get you the answer. Whatever you need, I'll find it for you. Right? Over promise, over deliver. Right? But say I'm also reaching out to that person for a referral. Like, hey, my name is Daniel. I'm calling from Salesly. Like, we did business about 6 months ago. I'd love to reach out, make sure all the experience is great. I want to make sure how everything's going. Do you like and understand everything that we went through? Are there any questions that have risen up in the last 6 months that you look I can put some attention on for you? Any information I can find out? No, great. Hey, great. I just want to let you know, not only this, but since you've done business with us once already, we are having a promo special that we could take a certain amount of deduction off for this, or if that might not be right for you, because I understand if it's not, we'd love to see if we have a referral basis of 2 to 3 individuals that you'd like us to have a conversation with. Right? If I don't have a relationship with that person, if I haven't get contact, how's it going to look if I'm not only asking them for secondary business, but I'm also asking them for a referral? I want them to advocate 2 to 3 individuals to come into my business for me, so I make money off them and they get nothing. Like I was a stranger when I called, and then I closed them somehow. And 6 months later, I'm a stranger again because they haven't had any dealings with me in the last 6 months because I have a pipeline that's filled with people that have no idea who I am, or I don't have a pipeline in the first place to actually make sure that when I make these calls, I'm making real connections. Right? It's all about the frequency of making sure that things go well. Right? If I'm on top of something, right? Say I did reach out to somebody in 6 months, right? I reached out all of a sudden. I wanted to make sure client experience goes well. And I have the most irate, aggravated, angry person that has been consistently screwed over by my company, my organization for the last 6 months, right? This is now going to take a majority of my time to number one, figure out the source of where this disconnect was, figure out what happened, figure out why it happened, and then actually get the problem solved, right? If I had called them on a 30-day basis or on a weekly basis for the first couple of days, right? So I made the connection. I had the first phone call within the first day. I had the second call in the first 3 days. I had a week. I had 1 month. I had 2 months. And I made sure I had consistent follow up where if anything did come up, it wasn't too far out of range, right? If I made sure I set the right expectation that if something does come up, like reach out to me first, foremost. I want to make sure that you have my connection available, that you can actually reach me because if something does go wrong, I'm going to be the one that solves this for you. And they're a human being. They left the conversation. They forgot who I was. They lost it. But every time I make that new connection with them, they find out who I am again. They remember all the reasons that they did business with me. They remembered all the reasons that they liked me, even if they don't remember everything, right? You lose 50% of the second you're out of a situation, you lose 50% of whatever detail was inside of that situation. Within 24 hours, you lose 85%. Within 3 days, you're holding on to the top 1% of whatever actually made an impact on your life. This is why frequency is so key, and this is why frequency is so important because you need to make sure that you're consistently delivering at that level of that scale to do it over and over and over and over and over again. Because the second that you stop your frequency, and this is after you've had a client, like if you go to the point where you don't have a client yet, you are never going to get clients if you don't consistently call people and try to onboard them inside of your business. You are never going to have a client if you don't consistently make a phone call and try to make a connection to forge an opportunity for you and that individual. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's not about making the initial touch point, right? The initial touch point is only for a secondary call to see if it makes sense to do product, offer, or service inside of your business, right? Like when I watch these other videos like Iman Gadzhi and Grant Cardone and Thomas Gannett, like they're always so focused on like what the overall picture looks like. The overall picture can be solved on its own. You need to make sure that you are delivering on a daily basis, right? You need to consistently be delivering results because at the end of the day, right, one of the best ways to track anything is on a daily basis, right? When you track things daily, things tend not to break as hard. Why? Because they don't have an opportunity to break as hard. Like I'm going to figure out something really quick. If it's broken on day one, I'm going to figure it out really fast. And then by day two or day three, it's going to be fixed, right? I have frequency and inspection, right? And it's not just about cold calling, but cold calling is the basis of this, but it's frequency and conversation. I'm having more conversations. I naturally get better at conversations. I actually get more efficient at conversations. I learn the right things to say, I learn the things to stay away from. And even when it's frequency in objection, I'm getting the same objections. If you're consistently getting the same objections inside of the frequency of your conversations, then you need to change how you have your conversation staged. Right? Because something you're doing is opening the door for this conversation to go in this direction for you to raise that objection in the first place. And yes, while you may be very good at the frequency of overcoming the objection, you should figure out how to stop the objection in the first place from happening. This is what happens when you inspect on a daily basis. This is what happens when you have the frequency to actually do the thing that you need to do on a daily basis, because the more time that goes between day one and day two or day three, like as far as like results go, the more you're going to realize that your skills aren't as sharp. Like you're constantly working with blunt instruments. Like you don't want to be working with blunt instruments. You want surgical precision on everything you do. And the only way to get surgical precision on anything you do is to actually make sure that you have frequency inside of your business. So whatever your product offer or service is, you need to be delivering it and having conversations, and everything that you're doing needs to be moving towards a goal of converting a customer on a daily basis. 1000%, you need to be moving towards converting a customer on a daily basis inside of that frequency. Because without frequency, you lose, right? I saw a video this morning. I want to drop out of here, based on this, but like, it's a coaching program that I'm part of, Client Ascension. What's up? But head of it was like, I heard an interview with Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is like awesome. But anyway, he heard an interview and he's like, your best performing ad will never beat my frequency. And it's true. One performing ad and a lot of good eyeballs on it will not beat how much attention this man is demanding because he has so much frequency out on the market. His name is in so many places that you can't beat it. Like you can't get that level of scale. That's a volume thing, right? Even if all his ads are shit performing, he's still going to do better because he's got more eyeballs on more things. It's all surface area. If I have one big steak right? It's great. But if I cut that steak up into 15,000 cubes, there's more surface area, there's more eyeballs, there's more tension. That's just how it works. Frequency is that name of the game. So you want to make sure that you do things in frequency at scale at all times. Because the second you stop doing things at frequency is the second you start to scale back in what you're doing. And the second you start to scale back in what you're doing, you're not busy enough for the negativity to seep away, and you're not busy enough for the positivity to seep in. This all works in tandem with each other.